You're listening to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. Before we get started, make sure you leave us a rating and some feedback from wherever you get your podcasts from, and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Range Minded Podcast. This is episode 93, where we talk with Dakota, the assistant gunsmith at the shop, and he tells us how he got into firearms, what it's like being a gunsmith, and the most common things he sees come across his workbench. Thanks for listening, as always, and we hope you enjoy episode 93 of Range Minded, the Dakota Interview. Hello and welcome to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. My name is Mark Long and I'm joined by...
I'm Steve and I'm here.
Live and in person.
Yeah.
The best kind of Steve Zimmerman.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, back at Independence headquarters right here. And we are joined by a special guest. Who are you, special guest?
Dakota. I'm the gunsmith here at Independence Indoor Shooting Range. The apprentice gunsmith here.
The apprentice gunsmith. He had to be specific there. So
he's the Padawan.
Yeah.
Yep, the Padawan.
The Padawan to Jeff's master.
Yes.
So, cool, man. Well, how long have you been the gunsmith or the apprentice gunsmith here?
I've been here for about 4 months apprentice smithing with Jeff now.
Okay, and this is
4 or 5 months.
And you were here before too, I think, right?
Yep. I worked here when they first, like the day before they first opened, for almost a year and a half, I think.
Okay, cool. And you're back.
Yep, I'm back.
So, have you always been like into gunsmithing and that kind of thing, or is it how'd you kind of land in gunsmithing?
I've always kind of wanted to do it. Growing up as a kid, I was fascinated by firearms.
Sure.
Absolutely loved them. Loved everything about guns. And then I just decided one day to try and get in the industry, and I got a job at Tactical Solutions, and then it just kind of took off from there. Started working there, just learning how to assemble guns.
Was it uphill or downhill from there?
It was probably downhill, though, because now I would just want to spend all my money on guns, actually, so downhill.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, the money that you get is all going to guns and accessories, ammo, everything.
Tools, everything, yep. It's got to be all guns now.
Yeah, because not only do you spend the money on guns and accessories, but you have to have the tools and the gear to work on it too, especially if you get into something weird and you need a special tool or something, right?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, we talked to I think it was a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, we talked to the former apprentice gunsmith Cody, who has moved on to bigger and better things.
I don't know what he's moved on to.
PWS.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I was going to say we know somebody else who used to work at Tactical Solutions as well. Nick Hoffer of Hoftac Industries.
Yes, Nick Hoffer.
Yeah, so the gun world is a small world, and it's getting smaller every day.
The official holster of the Range Minded podcast.
That's right, yeah. So
not sponsored, Nick.
No, not yet. But yeah, so...
That's subtle.
But so we learned a little bit more about gunsmithing, but I think we could probably use a total refresher because there's a lot of things that people probably do themselves that they shouldn't, or things people don't know that they actually could probably do at home. So I kind of wanted to start off just talking about you a little bit, and why you like gunsmithing so much, and kind of what you've learned here at Independence, kind of from the start.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I grew up around firearms. It's just something I always kind of had an interest in. I do enjoy it. I like to work with my hands, and it's just seeing all the different guns come through all the time and getting to mess with them and learning new things and challenging myself is awesome. And you never know what's going to come to the door, and then go get something and you're like, oh wow, that's old, or that's really cool, I want to work on that one, and you just learn the history behind guns is really neat too. So just seeing how they've progressed through the hundreds of years, and then getting to work on those older ones to newer ones. Newer guns are way easier in my opinion, but takes out the challenge. Just ARs and Glocks just are old. They bother me. I just get tired of working on them, because the thing you work on the most, I feel like, is just ARs and Glocks all the time.
Yeah, I mean, some of the most common firearms, see them over, and it's like seeing Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas all the time.
They're so simple, like some of the stuff, but it's just, you're like, gee, why? Yeah, I can reinsert that stragger for you, but you could do this at home on your table.
Well, some people, it's just like cars, though. I think is some people are kind of intimidated by taking something apart because they think they're going to be able to break it. I know when I started in guns, it was like I thought I was going to break everything. Like one of my first guns that I had was a Ruger Mark III.
Oh yeah,
and that was like my initiation into taking a firearm apart to clean it. And I was like, oh my god, are you serious? Are they all like this?
They always come back in pieces because people took them apart to clean them and can't reassemble them.
And that's true. I can remember the first time, my first AR, way back, pulling that bolt apart and wondering, oh, man, this is way too complicated.
This is too much for me. Yeah. So did you Did you go to gunsmithing school? Did you kind of learn on the job at Taxol, or tell me your story there?
It was just all on the job and like self-taught. I mean, I wanted to go to school, but there's nothing here in Idaho. There's nothing at all.
Nope.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere else. And there's really not that many. Are there a lot of gunsmithing schools, or not really?
There are a few. I know there's like a couple in California, but there's some good ones in Colorado, Pennsylvania. So there's a bunch out there. You have to travel if you want to go to them.
Gotcha.
You can do online, but online it's not an online job. It's a hands-on job. You can learn some stuff, but you'll learn more hands-on.
Yeah. So, I mean, and on-the-job training is probably the best anyway, because then you're learning it, right as you go. So, yeah. So tell me a little bit about the difference between kind of working at Taxol and working here, not necessarily like better or worse or whatever, but how has your work kind of changed?
I mean, definitely way more different types of firearms working here compared to Taxol over there. It was a lot of, 1022 type stuff, their X-rings, and I did some ARs, their Glock conversions, their pack lights and ridge lights, but I mean, most of it was all 22, so that's kind of what their big focus was.
Yeah. And
then I learned some CNC. I did some CNC machining over there for a while, and that was cool. That really helps out over here because that does transfer to firearms, and especially when it comes to gunsmithing. So we got a little knowledge there, and that helps.
Yeah, I was. So what's like your favorite like kind of firearm to work? It doesn't have to be like a specific one, but or maybe one that's come across your workbench that's like, man, this was pretty cool to do.
I've always liked working on K-frame Smiths. I just like K-frame Smith revolvers. I'm a big revolver fan.
Okay, yeah.
And so K-frame Smiths are just really easy to me. They take apart easy. Once you've done them a couple of times, it's not hard at all.
Just makes sense.
But you just compared to like working on a Ruger, no offense Ruger, I just don't care to work on
listening right
revolvers.
Now too.
Yeah, I just don't care to work on Rugers. I like the K-frames way better.
Yeah. It seems like with gunsmiths and just obviously gun people in general, but it does translate to gunsmiths, is that everybody's kind of got a preference. Like Cody was a big AK guy. Well, he still is a big AK guy. I mean, we're
talking about him like he's dead or something.
Yeah, right.
You're dead to me, Cody.
You're gone now to go. And that's actually kind of funny because he is an AK guy and now he's working for PWS. The whole piston thing.
Piston AR.
Yeah, so he fits right in there. That just clicked in my head.
Yeah, and he worked for POF too for a while, I believe. So they did pistons as well.
Yeah. So he's a big AK guy, and you're a big revolver guy. So
I love me some wheel guns.
So what do you love about him? What's so cool? Like
I think it just started when I grew up. I mean, the first gun I shot was a 22 revolver that I now own that was given to me from my grandpa, and then Ruger Blackhawk 357, and I just kind of fell in love with them from there. It was all downhill, as Steve would say, from there.
Yeah. I have. So one of the first guns I shot was a revolver too. It was at a range with my dad, and then my aunt has one and all that. So I'll be getting those at some point or whatever. And there is something cool and alluring about revolvers. It's maybe the simplicity that anybody can kind of operate them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take a lot of manual of arms. There's so many different kinds and everything. And
I think too that we see revolvers, not just the gun community, but Americans see revolvers at the real sexy time of gunplay.
Yes.
So you see like Clint Eastwood movies and those westerns where they're rocking single actions and kids play cowboys and Indians. Well, maybe not anymore, but you know what I mean. So that it was the birth of the real. Use of the Second Amendment for recreation, maybe that revolvers took place, and so we kind of go back to it.
So
were you raised like kind of hunting, kind of that kind of arena, or just okay?
Yeah,
very cool. So what'd you hunt?
It was always big game. It was the thing. My grandpa was just he liked hunting big game.
Right.
And then I used to do bird with my brother-in-law, and that was mainly about it though.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't really start doing bird hunting until I got a little bit older.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it seems like that's where if you've grown up with firearms most of your life, it seems like most people start in hunting one way or another. So even no matter what state you're in, really, because I'm from Illinois originally, and a lot of people would go hunt, up in Wisconsin or Central Illinois, or go a lot of white-tailed deer hunting. So, Steve, do you have a question?
No.
I feel like I've been peppering poor Dakota with questions so far.
You think of way more questions than I do. You just kind of get them off the top
I know,
of your
but
head.
I feel bad because I'm just rapid fire at you, and he's keeping up with them. So.
Do you like guns?
I like guns, Steve.
Well, here, actually, this will be a good one. So Tell me a little bit about, since we're on revolvers, the difference between the different frame revolvers, because you hear J frame, K frame. I'm sure there's more. There are. That's something that I'm not familiar with. So can you maybe educate me on that a little bit?
So they're just the different sizes of frames. So like, this is hard because I just know like K frame's the most off the top of my head. Just my favorite frame. But K frame is like you got your Model 19 to 357. I believe the Model 27 was their first K-frame, or it might have been the Model 10. I can't remember which, but like the Model 10s, the Model 27s, and then like any of the 686s are the N frame, and they're supposed to be a little bit more durable, stronger,
a little beefier. Full lug, right? Are those ones that got the full lug?
Yeah, those are full lugs. Mm-hmm. Yep. So like your K-frames are all the half lugs, and then the J frames are all the
small carries.
Small carry ones.
Gotcha.
I can't remember what the 500 is. It's like an X frame or something like that. It's its own ball game of frame.
Yeah.
Freeze frame. Sorry.
Do they have any more frames?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. What other frames they have?
He doesn't even know the song, so
the dad jokes are strong with you tonight. So really, it's just the size and like the thickness of the frame kind of thing, because it's got to handle different, I guess, purposes and pressures and all that. So, yeah, because that's one thing I'm terrible at, is being able to tell revolvers apart. Like I can tell you if it's got a 2-inch barrel or a 4-inch barrel. You know what I mean? I can tell you the barrel length pretty well, but as or a 686 as opposed to like a Model 19 or anything like that, it's tough for me to.
Yeah, I can say like, oh, that's a 19 or a 27 or something, but I don't know what frame size it is. That's what's bad with me. But I know like the J frame, because I like shooting the J frame. I'd like to carry a J frame because I know it's a small gun, but small-ish gun.
I just like the history behind him too, like the K frame especially. Why it was developed, and the 357 I like a lot, especially because how that came about too. And Idaho Rancher is actually a big part in the 44 mag, 41 mag, and 357 mag.
Really?
And being developed. Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. I'm kind of curious.
So I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up. He's got a book out there. I can't remember the name of the book, but if you look him up, he made these 44 special loads that he hand loaded, and he'd done them really hot.
Yeah.
And he would sell them, and people bought them. And so when it came time to do the 41 mag, they'd kind of looked at his load data and basically went from there. And lo and behold, the 44 mag came about, and they had this big bore, powerful round.
And it was roots in Idaho.
It's kind of where it started, I like to believe.
Yeah, it's crazy because we talked about, we've said it on multiple episodes, that we're in a unique area because there's so many firearms manufacturers and accessories manufacturers in Idaho, and especially here in the Valley. We're lucky to kind of be in that area. So
talking to Elmer Keith?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Looked it up. Yeah,
smartphone.
I do like 357. That's a fun round to shoot, especially if you start by shooting 38s and then bump up to 357. That's a fun round to shoot. So, and
then you bump up to what's the Smith, the Airlight Smith and 44 mag?
Oh, the 329 PD or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, monster.
Not fun. It's not bad in 44 special.
44 mag though, I bet it's awful.
Yeah, I probably don't want to deal with that.
That's like shooting a 500 snub nose in an Airlight. They made an Airlight frame in that too. Did you know that?
Gosh, I wouldn't even want to try that.
So let's flip it to the other way. What is your least favorite gun to work on?
Glocks. No, I know. I like to talk a lot of crap about Glocks, but I own them. It's just I have to give the Glock community just a bunch of.
Well, we're used to it.
Just crap.
I'm not a fanboy, but I just happen to.
There's just so many fanboys out there.
I always have to disclaim that whenever. I'm not a fanboy, but
I've got like 12 of them.
Maybe if you see my profile picture for the T-sheets, you die. It's terrible. It makes fun of Glock owners, but it's I own 2 of them. I think they're fantastic guns. I just
hate them.
It's just people that just ride that Glock horse so hard, and they're the greatest gun ever invented. And it's like
it's the people. It's the group.
It's the group that ruins it. And it's you know what? But I like Glocks, but I have to. But because of those people, I have to give Glocks crap.
It's kind of like me with Denver Broncos fans.
Yeah.
You just have to give them crap.
Yeah, because they're awful.
On, man, my family are Denver Broncos fans. They might hear this.
See, wow, you guys got plenty to argue about over there. Maybe that's why you're not asking any questions.
Yeah, I knew it was coming up. I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, you just probably see them so often too that it's just like, oh man, another Glock. And
I get it though. It's like the 1911, the AR, and Glocks are the Legos of adults. You know, there's just so much you can do with them.
Yeah, we were talking about that in our last episode, actually, about building your own firearms, and we were talking about ARs, which you can kind of put together really like Legos, and then brought up like the Polymer 80 builds or whatever that are kind of cool. Like I want to try to do one of those one of these days, and then building a 1911. Steve's done that, and just the degrees of difficulty that go in between building all of those is pretty immense, I would say.
Oh yeah.
With a 1911, it's a lot more fitment and kind of smaller stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, one off kind of, instead of just taking trigger pack out or the different pieces that all fit together in a Glock or an AR.
I wish I could just go off the shelf and buy a parts kit for a 1911 frame and just go to town.
It's definitely a craftsmanship firearm for sure. A lot of fit and finishing there. It's not like just slapping together Glocks and stuff.
Yeah. Is that the same working on them too? You really kind of, if you have some work done to them, you have to...
Yeah, I've had a lot. I've done a couple that come through and it's a fit job, Some guy wants his safety swapped out. Sometimes you got to fit it in there. You got to file it and hand fit it so it's just right and it works.
Yeah, and then you get to where if it's like an ambi safety on the 1911, well then you got to worry about changing the grip panels out or at least modifying the grip panels to run the safety on both sides. And
yep, I just did one of those too. Yeah,
with my Glock, I just put this stuff together and go shoot,
and
it works.
And you're done. Yeah.
Well, it works most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, so do you see a lot of like custom work and parts, having custom parts put in? Is that kind of the main part of it?
All the time, yeah. Like I said, Glocks and ARs are the biggest thing you see. Some 1911s come through. Some people will take a GI 1911 and they want to make it more modern. So I just did one of those, and that was really cool to see. I would say with the Glocks, though, a lot of people will do it themselves and they come back and, oh, my gun doesn't fire or work, and I've had several of those come through.
They'll put more than I'd like to disconnect or something on there, and then they don't get it filed right.
Don't get it filed right, or they just start throwing crazy stuff in there and it doesn't work. And
yeah, because I was gonna ask, that was my next question. What's kind of like the biggest thing you see where people bring guns in parts? Is it just trying to customize their own stuff and doesn't go so well?
Yep, it doesn't go so well. That's a big thing. Glocks are the ones I see all the time. Some ARs, not too much though. Rugers, the Ruger Mark IIs, the 1, 2, and 3s. People take them apart and they can't get them back together. That's another big one I've done a lot with. So
yeah,
I'm trying to think. Those are the majority though. Is like those three. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and we should probably say there's no shame in doing that either. If you try something yourself.
No, and that's how I learned. Some of the things is just going for it.
Yeah, some of those guns it's fine like to take apart because they are usually pretty easy to remedy, but there are some of the old stuff or the Ruger Mark 1s through 3s that get a little daunting.
Yeah, and you might have like you said, something obscure comes in. I mean, how do you figure out how to take apart maybe an older gun or a historical gun?
Sometimes you just have to look up a parts guide and just kind of go off the diagram and see hey, what's missing or what would go where, and go from there, or just go in blind and hope that it works out. Yeah, that's really just how it goes.
But always with a face of confidence, right?
Yep, I can fix this.
Yeah,
I can fix it. M1 Grands, M1 carbines, that stuff's really cool to work on. See those and just dive in.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did when I built an AR. I was like, there's enough videos on YouTube, and people do this every day, so I should be able to. I should be able to figure it out, no problem. And that's kind of how that's how you kind of gain confidence with putting together firearms and everything. And I feel like that's really the best way to do it. So. And
sometimes I'll even watch a YouTube video. I won't. I'm not going to be shameful about it. Sometimes you just have to, to at least see how something works.
Yeah.
Because they're all different. I mean, it's cool just to see how they've progressed. And you look at guns now, and you're like, why couldn't I have done this like 100 years ago? It's so simple compared to this complex gun back then.
Yeah. Well, and I think that might have to do with some like metallurgy and materials and stuff.
For sure.
Probably. I mean, 100 years ago they couldn't make plastics the way we do now, And I just actually held the Glock 44 up at the rental counter just for a second there.
Buying today.
So it won't be there for long.
And it's all plastic, basically.
Yeah, and
it's so weird to shoot.
That messed me up, man, because I was like, this feels like a toy. Like legit feels like a toy.
Yeah, wait till you shoot it.
That's good. That's great.
It's weird. Did you shoot it?
I haven't shot it yet.
It's strange. Like, not in a bad way. It's just you expect, it's a Glock, and then you pick it up. It doesn't weigh like anything like you're saying.
Yeah.
And then there is zero recoil, and then you're just like, what happened? Like, what just happened?
Is this normal? Yeah. I made a prediction about that. There's going to be a lot more training with those. You're going to see those Glock 44s all over the place for training and everything, I think, to get people.
Yeah, and I still think you'll see a lot more of the manufacturers jump on that bandwagon again. I mean, 22's the oldest metallic cartridge out there.
You're right.
But there's been a resurgence, just like revolvers. It comes in cycles.
Yeah. It's weird how the gun community this pendulum swings one way and then swings another way. So I will say Walther already has a PPQ 22, so no big deal.
You Walther fan?
Yeah.
I like Walthers.
You do?
Yeah, they're nice guns.
Yeah, so actually
I like everything, though. I'm not... I think being a gunsmith, you have to like everything. I carry such obscure guns here all the time. I just like everything.
Yeah, what's that? We got that. What is it? The revolver in there that you were showing me today.
Oh, I was carrying the 6-inch Bisley.
No, you have the Bisley.
Oh, the 1877 Colt Lightning.
No, but that's another sweet gun. No, we have it in the store that we bought.
The
store bought.
The number 2 Enfield.
The Enfield, yes.
Oh wow,
the 38 Smith & Wesson.
Cool, man.
It is pretty cool.
Is that the break action?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's
kind of like
cool.
a Webley. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, because most of the British ones, those early British ones, are all break action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are cool, man. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know we had one in the sitting in the
it's
case.
pretty cool.
It's back there. I have a drilling back there too.
Really?
Double barrel shotgun with the rifle barrel underneath.
Oh wow,
that's really cool to see. Because when you push to do the rifle, literally a sight flips up. So
that is cool.
It's a really neat gun, but it's like cannot find hardly anything on it or parts for it. But it's a craftsmanship firearm.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
That's way cool.
No, what I was going to tell you, because I teased about my project that I have Cody working on.
Cody, if you're listening,
I have a Walther P1.
Okay.
And I really liked the look of the P38K. You know, the P38 with the barrel cut or whatever. And I said, hey, Cody, I got a project for you. You think we can make this work? And so I bought a P1. I bought an extra slide. I bought extra barrel assembly, or a full complete slide. And he cut the barrel down to like 2.5 inches for me. And then the way that the front sight is on the original P1 is that it's on like a ring on the front of the barrel. So it's actually, dovetailed into the barrel. But with a P38K, the barrel is so short that you don't have any room to do that. So it's actually on the slide bridge on the front. Oh, and so he was trying for a really long time to figure out how to actually get a front sight on that slide bridge, because I just want to have a faux P38K.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be so cool.
That would be really sweet to have one of those.
And yeah, like being into the gun world, especially as involved as we have been with the podcast and everything, I'm starting to get into like obscure things like that or whatever. Not as obscure as like
I think we need to gold plate it too, by the way.
No, we're not doing that.
007? Come on.
The golden gun?
Yeah.
Jeez. That'd be awesome. I would do that to a PPK. I wouldn't lie there, but that would be fun. But anyway, so last I heard he was trying to figure out how to put, dovetail, because there's not that much material there.
That would be really sweet to see, though, if you can pull it off.
Yeah.
Your little own faux.
Yeah, and I got the inspiration online, because apparently it's a thing that people do every once in a while, but I didn't want to have only the short barrel, so I can have the original barrel, because all the numbers match on the frame and the slide and the barrel and everything. But yeah, it's been a little while, so I don't know. I might have to hand that project off to you if Cody's too busy. So
he's been a busy boy. I'm just trying to give him a guilt trip if he's listening.
Yeah. So let's talk about kind of the apprenticeship and working with Jeff and stuff. What's that like? I mean, you probably got to learn a lot from Jeff, right? Does he teach you a lot of stuff, or does he kind of just throw you in and say, "Let me know if you need me"?
Kind of both, but it's more like I just kind of grab something and dive in, and then if I need help, I'll ask him. But it's been good. He's just we're really busy right now, so I try to learn what I can from him at times, and then I just figure it out on my own. Yeah. I won't do too much of the mill work. Not really. I'm gonna have Cody come in and actually teach me some of that while he's away.
There you go.
And then Cerakote's Jeff's thing. I don't touch that. And so
the one thing I've really love about Jeff, and I've known Jeff for a long time, is his teaching style. Some people think it's really abrupt and coarse, and Jeff is a coarse person. That's just his personality. Once you get to know Jeff, he's a teddy bear.
Yeah,
but Jeff's a stud. But like when it comes to teaching, so like when you're tearing a gun apart, he's always willing to help. He might let you screw it up a little bit first, but at least you're learning. And Jeff's he's so smart that it's I don't know. He's, for me anyways, whenever I've needed help, he's always been there for me and helped me figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, just it's got to be cool to have like a guy who knows like everything.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'll get into something and I'll be like, oh no.
So you still have those situations, huh?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's, like I said, that you'll just always, there's just so many guns out there. It's hard to learn them all, or just you'll see something you haven't seen before on a certain gun, and then it's just like, Jeff, look at this, please.
Can you help me out? Yeah.
Yeah, and then he'll walk you through, and he'll explain to you what he's doing, and he'll show you, and then that way you learn it, and it's awesome. It's been a really good experience.
The other thing, if you're doing it wrong, he'll let you know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to convince him we got to get him on one of these days.
It's gonna be tough. We'll try.
You have to pay him or something.
And, if there's a spring that's gonna fly out that's heavy, and he's like, "Watch out!" and the fillet fingers blast you in the eye, and I'm like, "All right."
Oh, jeez.
That way I know. So he gives me some safety tips too.
At least it's nice to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think you guys are so busy right now? I mean, obviously, most gunsmiths are busy all the time, especially if you're good. So obviously, you guys are good, but like, is it because there's not much shooting to do outside, or you think, or?
I just think the holiday season really backed us up. Everybody's got new guns and they want to do, scope mounts, things like that to them, which hunting season was really bad because everybody wants to get their rifles done for hunting season. And then now we're in the Christmas season, brought in all these new guns that people got. And then there's just some stuff back there that's obscure stuff that gets brought in that
just takes time.
Yeah, it just takes time. Yeah. It's hard to find parts for. And
yeah, because sometimes you're not, you're at the mercy of parts suppliers or manufacturers, or you probably got to find. I mean, where do you even go to find parts?
There's a couple places we use. Sometimes you just go to these hole-in-the-wall places to find stuff that I've never even heard of, and they just happen to be the one person that parts out nothing but these guns. And so I use like a gunpartscore.com or whatever, Midwest Gun Works. And then, if you can just find obscure little places that sell them, usually they might have what you're looking for.
And that's one thing. If you do have a gun here at the Smiths or any gunsmith, really, it's pretty. You want to get out there and get shooting again, but you need to understand that sometimes that stuff is just really difficult to find.
I've had a guy's 5mm back there for a long time, and I told him, I was like, "This is what it's missing, man, but I can't find it anywhere." And he's like, "Oh, I'll go look for it." I'm like, "Cool, dude. If you can find it and get one, bring it to me. I'll finish it." But right now, I just can't spend all day, on the internet looking for this one part. So
yeah, I'd say that'd be a good tip about working with a gunsmith a little bit. Is if you're having something done, it's you want to, if you can find the parts, usually gunsmiths will put them in, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like it's kind of like not a lot of people find their own automotive parts for cars or anything like that, but it's a little different, I think, with gunsmiths. If you can find your own parts or whatever, like, because people sell random parts on eBay, or like you can go to Noonrich or whatever.
I've bought parts off eBay before too. Yeah, it's just if somebody's parting out a gun,
wherever you can find it. So, well, how can somebody like make your life easier or make your job easier to get their gun back faster? Because some people are, maybe they just don't know, and I'll get this back in like 2 weeks or like a week, right? Like, what can somebody do?
Yesterday, why aren't they done with it?
What can somebody do to kind of make your life easier? I mean, it depends obviously on what they want to do.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say it's on all case by case scenario, but I mean, if you know what parts you need and you know where to get those parts, buy those parts and then bring it into me. That way, you're not waiting on me to get those parts ordered. Or just don't take apart your gun, and if you don't know what you're doing, or take it to a person who claims to be a gunsmith in their garage. I had one of those, and it was just a pile of parts, and I had to put it back together for her.
Yikes. Hopefully everything was in the box.
It was. Right. Thankfully everything was there, but just don't take it to someone who claims to be something working out of a shed.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this. Where would you kind of maybe draw the line between trying something at home by yourself and bringing it to a gunsmith? Because, obviously, like maybe getting a new barrel for a Glock or something is something that you can do at home if you have just basic knowledge, which, I mean, I think most gun owners should. You should know how to take it apart to clean it. I'm just using like the most basic thing, or even putting like extra, like a different base plate on a magazine or something. But, doing trigger work is something that I probably would shy away from. Where do you kind of draw that line, you think?
I would say, when it comes to doing trigger work, it case by case again, but I would say try not to do any of it. You know, if you're trying to do your own trigger job, you know, it's always best to take it to a professional. I'm starting my own wall of shame, and it's going to be all the parts that are so messed up from people trying to do it themselves.
Sure.
And that they can't be used. And, you know, just don't hand file something. If you saw it on YouTube, it does get kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Everything's true on YouTube. What are you talking about?
And everybody's a licensed professional.
Right. Everyone's a licensed professional on YouTube. But even barrels, you know, I got a barrel back there for a Browning, and it's a high power, and they bought it online, brand new barrel, but it has to be fit to that gun because it's not made the way they used to make the barrels back for them. So that one's even kind of tough. Like, wow, really, this barrel doesn't fit in this slide, so now you have to bring it to me. That kind of sucks. It should be a simple swap, but it's not on that.
Yeah, but that, like you talked about the history of firearms and stuff, and back in the day, things weren't, you know, made to that exact of a spec.
Well, I've even seen aftermarket Glock barrels that have to be fitted to the slide.
Really?
Well, the tolerances are just so tight.
Yeah, I guess if you're going for performance and that kind of stuff. So, but that's good. I mean, that way, if let's say you buy a Glock 19 or something like that, and you want, you know, a slide or a cut for the slide cut for optics, and you want, you know, a new barrel, new trigger, all that kind of stuff, just bringing all that to Dakota, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, for sure. That way, you don't have to wait on parts.
Yeah.
You know, something that can be done in 30 minutes or an hour, and then turns into 2 weeks because don't have time to find them.
Are you seeing more slide milling for red dots and stuff?
A ton.
Yeah, I figured.
There's been like 4 19Xs in the past couple of months that have come through for RMRs, and I was like, wow.
There must have been a cool video on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, they're just been. Yeah, we've talked about it getting more popular. I mean, you see red dots on pistols more and more, and I think that's just the way it's going to go, because why not? You know.
Man, I saw a prototype. Sorry, sidetrack. Saw a prototype for one of the new Hollow Suns.
Oh yeah.
It's still in the stage, but it for a Glock, but it matches the serrations. It fits on where the plate goes. You don't put in a different plate on top of your RMR or your Glock that's already cut. The
slide, yeah.
It just bolts right to it, and everything matches. It looks like it's part of the Glock.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I will say this though, and this is might hurt some gunsmiths out there, but you know, it's more affordable to buy a MOS ready gun than having it milled, and you'll have way more options, because when we mill them to the spec of that red dot that particular you want, sight, and then you're kind of stuck with it. I mean, unless you want us to redo it, but even then, it's like you really can't. So I think it's more affordable to buy an MOS gun than have it cut, because you're gonna pay, you know, I don't remember what we charge, but some $100 more you're adding into the cost to get it cut, and then you're stuck with that one you wanted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you better really, really like that red dot you have on it, because
I tell people to go try out a bunch before you make a decision, because you know you might not be going back unless you're gonna buy a whole new slide and redo it. Yeah,
that's expensive. Yeah, because I was thinking about getting a red dot, but I was like, maybe I could just get, you know, because I have a Walther PPQ, you know, and I was like, you know, it'd be cool to get a red dot on that, but I was like, you know what, I might just be able to get away with getting a new slide, just swapping them out. You know, that way you kind of have the versatility, you know, and the modularity of it or something.
Yeah, so why not?
Or even go with the one that punches out the rear sight and then it slides in the MOS plate. Go with that, because then, you know, you can just change out those plates. That's, you know, you give up your rear sight, but at least you can still change red dots without cutting into your slide.
Yeah, exactly. So, Steve, do you have any questions?
Well, I will have 5 questions later.
Sure. Yeah.
So this whole time working on guns, has there been something you've seen come through like, man, I need one of these in my gun safe?
I've probably seen a couple. I gotta stop and think about it now. I don't know. I'm a big fan of old guns. I just think they're really neat. I wouldn't mind having an 1877. The one I'm working on isn't mine, but I wouldn't mind having one of those Colt Lightnings.
Heck yeah.
And then one Grand I'd like to have. Really want one of those. But anything that I'm like dying for, no, I can't think of anything right now. Can't think of.
What about the opposite side of the spectrum? You're like, well, I'm definitely not buying one of these.
Ooh, a High Point.
Have you had to work on those?
I haven't had any High Points that I've had to work on. Just been doing custom work on a high point right now that's like you're going to customize a high point. But you know what? Hey, if that's all you can afford, go for it. You know, at least it's something you have.
I thought they were just disposable once you were, you know.
I do want a yeet cannon just for the fact that they even have it on. Yeah, because they have the yeet cannon.
Oh, the yeet cannon.
I want one of those. I want the new one they came out with. Yeah, that's one of the guns I want. But no, that high point is something that I wouldn't buy besides the yeet cannon one. I don't know. I've seen a lot of oddball, cheap, 380s and 38s come through. Oh, I remember what it was. It was this. The whole revolver was basically cast, and it was made. I don't even know where it was made, in like Brazil or something. And it was just horrible. The metal was disgusting.
Really?
And they just took like a rifled tube and shoved it down the end of the cast and then staked it in, and it was awesome. I told Jeff, I said, I'm not even gonna fire this gun. It's only in 38, but I was like, I'm not shooting it at all.
Yeah, that just sounds unsafe.
It was like, I just looking at it, the color, I was like, nope, I'm not touching it. I'll fix it, but I'm not gonna test it.
Oh man,
that's where it was just.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, most poorly made guns I've ever seen.
That sounds like a wall of shame candidate for sure. Man.
It was for a cast firearm. Nope, no.
Oof. Yeah, I can only imagine. That's probably not. Is that the worst you've seen then so far? Or?
That one is the worst. I mean, I would rather have a high point 10 times over than that revolver. It was no.
Man,
I like the high point carbine.
Oh, the carbine, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the handgun.
No, same magazine.
Yeah. It's funny because I never, you always hear about the kind of the joke or the meme about high points and stuff like that. It's one thing like to make fun of it on the internet, but then when you see it in real life, it's kind of terrifying.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to name names, but I have seen somebody here, not an employee, but a customer or two, come in with a high point in a nylon holster,
the floppy one,
and I'm just like,
fits all
I'm just
holster.
like, this is how you die. You are going to have an ND somewhere, and it's not going to...
Well, 1911s, they may have won two
world wars. We used to have one of those employees that worked here.
Oh, really?
We did?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me later.
He had a nickname. We called him High Point.
Oh, that probably narrows it down.
We'll talk about it off the air. I can't remember.
Yeah, we don't want to name names.
But 1911s, they might have won some world wars, but... How many have won turf wars?
Oh boy!
Right. That High Point has won some turf wars. For
say
sure.
High Point versus 1911.
That's like one of the most battle proven platforms out there.
God.
That was I think that was the most common found handgun in an evidence lockers was the High Points.
Really?
And then it was like grandpa's old 22s, things like that.
Stuff that gets stolen.
Yeah, I guess.
You mean the Glock 40?
Yeah, the Glock 40.
They're all Glock 40s. Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, because half of them probably don't even work, or they work once and then
it's all you need, one shot.
Yeah, I guess. But I remember reading something like that where it's like a staggering percentage of like evidence, like firearms that found in crimes or something like that, or arrests, like they'll only work one shot, or they don't work at all, or whatever, just for the intimidation factor, or like you said, the one shot that needs. So
yeah.
So like getting into gunsmithing and stuff, do you have like your own personal projects that you're doing now, like customizing or working on stuff like?
I'm currently, it's for a family member, but it's just an 1877 that Colt Lightning.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have too much of my own stuff I'm working on. Well, I guess I do have that CZ82 I was telling you about earlier off the show. Yeah. So that is something I want to do. It's obscure because I want to make it a carry gun, a 9x18. The 9mm Makarov doesn't really sound like a carry gun, but I want to get it all Cerakoted up. I want to throw on some ridiculous night sights on there. I even thought about trying to find a modern CZ83 trigger guard for it, ripping out the old one, putting that in there so it's not so weird looking.
Right.
There's too much I want to do for it. It's going to be ridiculous, and then I want to use it as a carry gun.
But it's got to be fun to have those skills and be able to see it and kind of make it happen yourself. Because like if I wanted to do something, I mean, I can't. I don't have those skills, so it's got to be cool to be able to do that kind of whatever you want.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's great.
Plus having here to work on stuff. Obviously not during business hours when customers guns, because that obviously comes first, but it is kind of cool to come in here because I've Cerakoted a bunch of my own stuff in here, and I've done a lot of stuff on my own. It's nice having the ability and a place that's dedicated for it where you can do that kind of thing.
Yeah. So if people have questions on customizing their guns or, fixing guns or anything like that, can they come and talk to you during kind of the day or?
Oh yeah, they can come here and talk to me during the day. I mean, they can email me at dakota@iishooting.com if that's something they want to do, and I'll be happy to answer any of those questions that I can.
Yeah, because I think some people are intimidated just they don't want to look stupid and ask the wrong questions on customizing or anything like that. But, you and Jeff obviously too are a wealth of knowledge and have seen so many things come through that what works, what doesn't, maybe what works better than the other. And you guys are kind of tucked away in the back and the door is shut sometimes or whatever. So anyway, I think people can, get more accessible to the gunsmith area is the better,
Yeah, they say there's no stupid questions, and I feel like that's in guns. That's a big one because you could hurt yourself or somebody else. So don't do something that could do something that would hurt yourself. So come and ask questions. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you have a passion for guns and curiosity and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that's the thing is people think that you're going to waste your time, but you want to talk about guns, right?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about guns unless it's something silly. Like I got a high point. No, I'm just kidding. Come back and talk to me about it.
We'll make it awesome.
Yeah. We'll make it into the greatest high point you've ever seen.
Love it. Cool. Well, I think we'll have to shift over to Steve's questions. Why don't you intro the questions and prep him a little bit because he looks nervous.
Dakota's never really listened to any of our podcasts.
No, that's unfortunately not.
So he has no idea what's about to hit him.
You're making him nervous. I can tell.
No, there's a series of questions, 5 questions that we ask every guest. Nothing scary or intimidating. Answer them however way you feel is appropriate to the answer or to the question itself.
But it's just to get to know the person. As opposed to.
It's completely nothing to do with guns.
Okay.
Well, maybe it depends on your answer. It might come up with
we'll see.
Firearm related. So, we just call these the 5 core questions.
Got it.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
You scared?
Nope.
Not at all.
Off, man. I'm a little nervous.
Okay. First one. Okay. What experience in your life has been the most influential and why?
Most influential and why? I'll come back to that one. Let me think on that.
Pass.
We'll swing back around.
Yeah. We'll come back to that one.
All right. Ready for number 2 then?
Yeah.
All right. You just won the lottery. It's a huge amount of money. It's a ridiculous amount of money. What are you going to do with the money and why?
I would start investing. I would definitely make some trust fund for my kid. So I wish he could be well off. And then, I don't know what I would do with the rest. I mean, try and pay off, a bunch of all the debt I have for sure. I'd probably have a lot of guns. There we go. So many guns.
I was waiting. He's going through these responsible things that he wants to do. I'm like, there's got to be something fun.
I would definitely do something that would keep myself, well off, and I could keep going and not just end up poor, after it all. I'm not going to go out and buy drugs or anything. No.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
I would invest it, and then I would just, just keep buying guns. I would try to own at least, 30,000 firearms, something ridiculous.
Oh, man.
The Dakota Firearm Museum. That's what it sounds like. There you go.
That'd be amazing. I just wanted, in my house, I wanted my own Cabela's, the showroom. I wanted one of those in my house. And you walk in, they got the red
Dakota's
felt,
gun library.
All these guns.
Yeah, man.
That'd be awesome.
This is our high point wing.
Yep. I would have it all. I don't care. I'd have my own, and wings seem to be great.
Love it.
Okay, this is a good one. What's your biggest fear?
Ooh, my biggest fear.
It can be something simple, too. Levi said, what, snakes?
Snakes?
Or sharks or something.
It was sharks. That's what it was. Yeah, we had Levi on, and he was just like, and most people were like, oh, my family being in danger, or some really serious stuff.
I thought he was joking.
And Levi just nope, sharks. I'm like, all right, cool, you win that one. So whatever comes to mind first.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that came to mind was sharks and spiders, I don't know. I think it would be, something happening to my daughter. My wife, because I don't know, being a dad definitely changes you.
Oh yeah,
I have an 8-month-old now, and
wow, congrats!
I couldn't imagine anything happening to her.
See, I'm not a father yet. It's gonna happen sooner or later.
One day it'll happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well done.
What is your biggest achievement?
That's not really. That really got a lot of them. No. My biggest achievement. I don't know. I got offered a job here at gunsmithing. That was awesome. I don't know. I just thought I did never think that I would get to do gunsmithing just because I didn't go to school or anything like that. I just figured I'd just always work in the firearms industry, but I wouldn't get to this point. And it's really it's nothing great, but it's always something I wanted to do. So it was really awesome. Like I cried when Ryan offered me. Like I immediately hung up and I was like, I cried because I couldn't believe that he'd offered me that job.
That means that you're deserving of the job though, because you're passionate about it. You know, and like, you know, it's one thing to go to school. I mean, and say, okay, I have the certification, and maybe it's just some people maybe just take that path because it's right there. But to go for it, you know, just from the get-go is impressive. So so kudos to you.
Oh, thanks.
I think it's more of an achievement than you think.
Would you say it's your high point of your life?
Oh my God. Come on, I had to.
It's the high point of my life, Steve.
Wow.
I had to.
It is the canon of my life.
You have no idea how long I sat here and waited to say that.
Hold it in.
I couldn't hold it anymore.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, this is my favorite question. Okay. I know how I would answer it. We've had a lot of cool answers, and that's what I love about these questions. Is it tells us who you are. Okay, well, maybe all the questions combined, not this one in particular. So, who would you say is your greatest hero and why?
My greatest hero. You know, I think it'd probably be my grandpa. Just growing up is like, that's one of the big things. I'm even into guns, and as a kid I'd spent, you know, as much time as I could over there and watching them go on their hunting trips when I was little, like 3 or 4. I still remember watching them leave and always trying to just let me go with him, Grandma, you know.
Yeah.
And he's my hunting partner now, and I probably won't change until he passes. But it's just to see, I like all of his stories. He's just hardworking guy, still works his ass off to this day, and I don't know. I just like all my favorite movies, westerns, things like that, all because of him. And
nice.
Just really inspired me. He's one of the hardest working men I've ever seen, and he does construction, and he just goes. And he's always, even when he's in the down, he's always smiling. So
cool, man. That's awesome.
Right on.
We got to circle back though.
Yeah,
to the first question.
Remember the first question?
Okay, let's hear the first question again.
Okay, we'll start over. Okay. What experience in your life has been the most influential and why?
Most influential. Probably, you know, my kid being born. It was, I would never thought I was going to change, and I changed in some way, just because now it's no longer about me or about my wife. It's about trying to be the best I can be for her and support her the best I can and give her all the things that maybe I never had in life or my wife never had in life, and just makes me want to be a better person and strive to do better.
There you go. Perfect. See, those 5 questions weren't too bad, were they?
They weren't bad at all. They were not what I expected at all, but I liked those a lot.
Well, no, we always try to show that they're, you know, in the gun world, that we're all people the same. You know, and we all care about a lot of the same things and agree more than we disagree.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And there's a lot of, you know, there's people behind the gun world. So
we're not monsters. We're nice people.
We try to be. Yeah,
I'm a bit of an ass, but other than that,
you're a smart ass. That's about it.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to say, I got one more question for you. What would you say to somebody who wants to get into gunsmithing? Because, you know, I think, like I said, you took your own path, which is admirable. So I think you've got a unique perspective to give some advice.
You can go to school. You know, that's one of the options. If you have the option to, go for it. If you're not afraid to travel, I would say travel. Try it. Move to one of the places that has it, or just try and if you can't, get into the firearms industry. Do online courses. Just try to learn as much about firearms as you possibly can. If you have guns, take apart your own stuff and try to put it back together. If something breaks, or, you know, just friends, family, whoever might try and fix their stuff if you can. You know, it's a great start, but getting into the firearms industry for me was where it really took off. It was a huge step in the right direction, preferably a manufacturer. Yeah, I mean, working here like at a retail at a gun store, it can help, but a manufacturer is where it really did the best for me.
Cool. Awesome, man. You got anything else, Steve?
No, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, you're a little apprehensive at first, but then it's like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of people get mic fright, and it's about recording and stuff like that. But I do it every day, so it's no big deal to me. So, but I have to remember that, just like working on guns all day for me would be, oh my God, what am I doing? Or getting like parts mixed together or whatever. Yeah. So everybody's got their thing. So no, but if you have a question or anything, what was your email again? One more time.
It's Dakota at iishooting.com.
Cool.
It's
email
spelled like the state.
There we go. The states. Yeah. Actually, like I said, I moved here from Illinois and I drove through South Dakota. It's actually a pretty cool place.
Yeah, South Dakota's nice. North Dakota, not so much.
Well, it's probably nothing but snow up there. So I've seen
Depends on what time of year.
But no, South Dakota's got Mount Rushmore and Waldrug and all the Badlands and stuff. And awesome. I stopped at Mount Rushmore or whatever. Makes you actually feel pretty patriotic. Makes you love your country a little bit. So if you ever get a chance to go to Mount Rushmore, you should. But anyway, kind of off the rails.
Yeah, but we never do that.
If you have a question, email us podcast@iishooting.com. You can email Dakota at iishooting.com if you have a gunsmith related question, or we can point you his way, or just come in, stop by the shop.
Yeah, come hang out, come shoot some stuff, shoot that new Glock 44.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah. So all right, cool. Well,
did I mention I'm buying that gun?
You did. Don't tell your wife.
She knows. I'm in trouble. So I might as well do it. I'm already in trouble for it.
Yeah, better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
No forgiveness now. I've already told her.
Yeah, actually, so is your and before we go, is your wife a gun person, or is she kind of tolerated, or?
She tolerates it. She's not that big into guns. I mean, she's got like a little Glock 43 and a 22, but no, she's not. She's nowhere near like I am. She doesn't mind them though.
But she's supportive of buying more guns, or do you have to pretend like Steve does?
Kind of have to pretend like Steve does.
Yeah, I've learned to just not.
I got a really good deal. That's what I would say. I got a great deal.
That's the only reason why I buy guns.
I've learned just not to say anything. You just put them in the safe, and then wait, where is this one? I've had this for months.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that too.
And then look what happens. Suddenly you have to try and sneak open another safe.
Yeah, see that you got a real problem. I don't know how you're doing that. I mean, I'm trying to maximize my safe capacity where things are jammed in there just right, like Tetris.
And do you know what's funny is like people think, oh, you're just selling your safes.
No. No, I you would probably have a room that's got.
It's my safe space.
Yeah, see, there you go.
My wife told me I needed to buy a bigger safe, and I was really excited about that. She was like, yeah, we need to get a bigger safe. I was like, yes.
Yes. For sure. That's why she's your wife, right?
Yeah, she said yes.
Sounds like a good woman.
Yeah. So, all right, well, on that note, we'll close it out. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you. Be safe.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to Range Minded. Find us online at Range Minded Podcast on Facebook, or send us an email at podcast@iishooting.com. We're always happy to get feedback, episode suggestions, whatever you want to send us, really. And be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and pretty much wherever else you get your podcasts from. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.